What do I want for Robby versus Kwon? Now, I have gone on record to saying that when you make something personal, there is nothing like it. Now, the reason why Axel is being introduced is for Miguel, because when you have a fight that's personal, it trumps any video game fight. Would it be cool to see Robby fight Axel and Miguel to fight Kwon? Yes, it would be cool. But that's the point. It's just cool. It doesn't serve anything to the narrative outside of, oh, it looks cool. Let's give it some substance here. So with Robby and Kwon, essentially what I've compared this to is Kwon is essentially everything Kreese wanted Robby to be. Robby is everything that Kwon isn't. They're like opposites of each other, but different but same. So when Robby looks at Kwon, he sees everything he could have been. Relentless, ruthless. And I know people have made comparisons from Kwon to Hawk. You can make that comparison too. But just sticking specifically with Robby and Kwon, the dynamic of these two, I'm so looking forward to. Because think about it. When we first met Robby, he was very much like Kwon. He was cocky. He was arrogant. He was, one-linered. He didn't take shit from no one. He was he was going down a very different path. And it was because of Miyagi-Do and the teachings and the lessons where he was able to turn it all around. The importance of a mentor in a young boy's life are so important, something I've mentioned many times before. But the dynamic that these two will have, I'm looking forward to it, because what happens when you put bad boy against bad boy? Now, we've seen that with Johnny and Mike and the interesting dynamic that they have. And obviously, I will say the show is a bit more lenient to Johnny because it's his show predominantly. So, of course, there's going to be a little bit of bias towards that. But it was interesting seeing how Mike and Johnny interacted after all this time. We got a glimpse of what it could have been 30 years ago. And what's great about this whole situation with Robby and Kwon is not only are they so similar, it's just their approaches now are so different. Robby doesn't strike first anymore. He doesn't act on anger. He's very focused. He's determined. A focused Robby is a dangerous Robby and will be a victorious Robby. Whereas Kwon has no qualms about who he hurts. No distinction between what he's hunting and what's in his way. He doesn't care. And the minute Kreese gave him the line, so powerful, take all that anger inside of you and give it purpose. That's exactly what he tried to do for Robby. That's exactly the same thing. The difference is Robby's heart was too strong to go fully to the dark side. Whereas with Kwon, we know little about him. We know little about his backstory or what his life was like. So for him to give in so easily to the dark side, he must have literally had it rough. Like, honestly, I'm very interested to see how far they'll go with Kwon in terms of revealing a bit of backstory. Now, as I've said, give him some gray, give him some nuance. But the one thing you can't do is have us rooting for him. Like, I don't want that. I want it to be a clear distinction. Good guys, bad guys, that kind of thing. What Kwon represents, and I remember talking about this with the Kings, anyone else, before this season even came out. I said, in Power Rangers, there's a group called the Psycho Rangers. They're basically evil doppelgangers of our guys. I want that for Cobra Kai. I want characters to look at a version of themselves, like a version of Robby that wanted to kick Miguel over the railing, a version of Miguel that wanted to go to the dark side, a version of Hawk that never redeemed himself, a version of Kenny that didn't stop with the silver bullet. Characters like that, where they, you don't do it too cheesy or too on the nose, but it's a physical manifestation of everything they could have been. So when Robby looks at Kwon, he sees everything he could have been. Relentless, driven, no passion, no, like, honestly, no passion, but in a compassionate way. But yeah, he's got passion, just in a completely different way. It's that never put passion in front of principle, which is what Daniel told to Robby. Kwon is completely focused. He's on job. He's on a mission. And the line that he gave where he's like, just go straight for the head. Yeah, you can definitely bet that Robby's getting a kick to the face. And, based on, obviously I want to try to avoid leaks and spoilers to try and preserve everyone's viewing experience. But there's a very good chance Robby's going to have blood on his face. So, yeah, a kick from Kwon is definitely going to connect on his face. But this is where I want Cobra Kai to grow some freaking balls. I don't want Robby getting injured and someone taking his place. I don't want someone being substituted in. I don't want that. I want characters to fight through the pain. We haven't had a Daniel versus Chosen fight with the kids yet. We haven't had a Daniel versus Mike fight where it's a psychological battle. We haven't had even a Kung Fu Kid, Jaden Smith versus Chung fight, where he's literally fighting through pretty much almost a broken leg. You know, fighting through the pain, the tears, the blood, the sweat, the pain, and he says, "No, I'm getting up." I want that. I think we need some maturity in this show a little bit. I think, you know, it's been played safe for the most part. With the adults, they've had blood and there's been fights and whatever, but for the kids, it's been relatively safe. I think now we're gonna cross that line now. I want them to cross that line because not only are you in the final season, you're now passing the torch fully. You're passing the torch to the kids now for when the show is inevitably picked off for spin-offs or sequel seasons, you know, and I guarantee you these two will be leading a season down the road. But I really want Cobra Kai to grow some cojones and have a fight that goes all in. And Brandon Lee and Tanner Buchanan are arguably the most athletic guys on the roster. And from everything that we know, from the interviews to the junkets to all the information, these two go hard. Apparently, these two go really all in on their fight scenes. And I'm looking forward to that. I think this will be the best fight of the entire show for the kids. I think Eli and Robby's fight in season 4 will have nothing on this. I think this will be the best teen fight of the whole damn show. Pure, just from a spectacle angle. I think this will be the Anakin Obi-Wan kind of fight, the flashy one, the emotional one, the epic one. That's what this fight will be. The one with Miguel and Axel, I'll talk about that in my Miguel and Axel video, because don't worry, that one, I've got a great comparison that I made on my most recent live stream. If you haven't seen that, go check it out, about that fight. I'm talking Creed 2. Creed 2, if you know, you know. Thank you guys for watching another video. Jump in that comment section down below. Let me know your hype for this fight. What do you want to see? What are you expecting? And I can't wait. I'm sure, shout out to Tanner and Brandon Lee. They're going to I bet you they absolutely crush this fight scene. And there's something so powerful in having a moment where Robby's down, it's 2 for 2. Like, he's injured. He's probably got a broken arm or something. He's got blood on his face. And Daniel comes onto the mat, talks to him. Not like, I would love Johnny to do it because it's his dad, but maybe they both go on together. Maybe Johnny and Daniel both go on together. Daniel says to him, remember in season 1, what did I tell you? Find your balance. So therefore you call back to season 1, and then Johnny, looking at him this time, not being on the other side of the fence, looks at him and goes, you got this, son. Chef's kiss. And then Robby just locks in, focus, looks at Tori, gets that, you know, that he's like, okay, that's my shorty, you know, all that lovely stuff. Looks at his family over there, goes and kicks Kwon's ass. Calling it now. I'm calling it now. Calling it now. Could be wrong, but fingers crossed.